And
meeting is
that is
now
prepping.
streaming live.
Okie dokie.
Okay. You still have to give me permission.
Done. And now I'm going to switch you back over to the host, David.
Okay. There we go. Perfect. Okay, now we are recording and we are streaming and we are good.
Excellent. So I'm still not quite sure what's going on with my audio. It's very low. I can hear everybody. Hello, Donna. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I think it was just a couple other people with us tonight. We'll give them a minute or two here to see if they're going to be able to join. In the meantime, we'll take a look at our beautiful Indo can Peace Bear. His very nice tags. He will come shipped with his tag protector.
So yeah, let's go ahead and talk about Peace and also what him being an Indo-can means.
Sure. So obviously, Peace Bear came out just after Garcia was phased out. And he is almost 100% identical to a Garcia, except they added this really nifty little peace symbol here on the chest, embroidered. Now, why this one is special, beside his really awesome coloring that he has, he's got this really cool lime kind of yellow stripe and blue on his back. But the reason that this one is so special is because he is an Indo-can. And what that means is that he was made in Indonesia. Let's see if I have a really hard time seeing this on the screen here. But right on the spine of the tag, we can see where they use handmade in Indonesia. Now, most Beanie Babies were mass produced, and those were made in China. So, 9 times out of 10, when you check through your Beanie Baby collection, especially, 5th generation beanies like Peace here, they're going to be made in China. That is not the case with this one. He was handmade in Indonesia. And that's really special because the Indonesian factory was only in production during 5th generation. So they're the only beanies that it's possible to find that were handmade in Indonesia. Now, while that is very cool and collectible and desirable on its own, when you pair that up with the fact that it was intended for sale in Canada, it becomes what we call an Indo-can. And they are quite literally the most desirable versions of 5th gen beanies that you can have. And the way that we can tell that they were made for sale in Canada is by seeing that they have this secondary additional tush tag attached to the bottom that is completely black and white. And what that did was it served as a customs tag that allowed the beanie to be transported over borders and, so on and so forth. It was able to be sold in Canada. So handmade in Indonesia, made for sale in Canada, really special combination, really difficult to find. And, this little guy, his coloring doesn't hurt him at all. We were able to see in the pictures when he lays back here, there's a lot of purples and things that just show up. And, try as we may to record and photograph as best we can. Sometimes it's just you get them in hand and you see them in person and they're just really, really stunning. Like I can see here right in front of me. It's really nice minty colored cheek on the one side. He's really fantastic.
That's a beautiful bear. Now, just curious too, do you have any idea what % of all beanie types were possible to be an Indo-can?
I don't, not as far as a percentage goes. But like I said, if we look at just generations, in the grand scheme of things, There are currently 19 different hang tag generations available. And so we are talking explicitly about 5th generation here. So it is a really small time period there. Absolutely, that information is probably available online to see exactly when the first 5th gen beanie came out and when it ended. So whatever those dates are, that's exactly what we're talking about. You cannot find Indonesian made beanies prior to 5th gen or nor after 5th gen. Canadian, however, now you can find lots of beanies spanning all sorts of, generations from very early on to newer stuff that have that additional Canadian tush tag. And one thing that we do see a lot when people are asking in the groups, they'll notice that their beanie has this extra Canadian tush on it, and they'll want to know if that adds any value in and of itself. And the answer to that is no. It really has to be paired up with something else. It has to be in conjunction with it being, made in Indonesia. It's that pairing that gives us the real rarity, right? Same goes for handmade in Indonesia beanies. They are slightly more desirable than a made in China counterpart. But what we really, really, as collectors, are looking for are Indo cans. It's really the two of those things together that lend to its desirability.
Awesome. And Donna, since you're on the call today, tell us where you're calling in from and what attracted you to Peace.
I'm calling in from Oak Island, North Carolina. And I think Peace is the most beautiful bear probably that Ty made. That the coloring, oh gosh, it's just amazing. I love bears.
That's fantastic. And you know what? You're absolutely not alone. Not alone there either. So many people really gravitated toward Peace bears. And David and I, everything that we've done in this business along the way, we've been really fortunate to see some really spectacular collections from other collectors that feel the same way you do, Donna, that really, really love Peace and Garcia, the tie-dye pieces. And even David himself, Dave, if you want to tell her, David is a huge fan of the bear design. I know David loves teddies.
They are my favorite of all, and I mean it's classic, right? It's what makes Beanie Babies. I have sitting on my desk right here. I live in Columbus, Ohio, so I have my I Heart Columbus and my I Heart Ohio, and they sit right on my desk here. But they are my favorite. They're the quintessential beanie. They're obviously the logo of Mr. Beans. One of the things also, Nick, that I was interested for our audience to know here, I know that also with the Peace Bears, you have a pastel color palette as well as a more vibrant tie-dye. Can you talk about that a little bit?
I can, yeah, absolutely. And I wish I had one right on hand to show. I don't, unfortunately. But Peace, he really did come in a lot of different color variations as far as the shading and markings on the fabric. And Peace collectors went above and beyond. It's the reason why stamps inside of tush tags on any other beanie, it really isn't important at all, but it is for Peace. And the reason that it was made important for Peace is because it tells you that information, assuming that there is a stamp inside, which on Indo cans, they don't have it. It will tell you which factory from China that the beanie came from. And it also kind of helps place the bear within a timeline of when it was produced. And the reason that was so important for Peace is because throughout time, different dates and everything, you could line that up to the different fabrics that were being used. And Peace came in a lot of different fabrics. They were really the terms to describe them were really coined by collectors. It wasn't so much something that Thai Corporation was releasing them as or promoting them as. It's something that collectors took upon themselves to say, oh, this one has this color variation, this one has that. And some of the terms that we, now are familiar with that have come to light because of that, pastel is one. hugely popular. They're going to be really, really light colors. Think like Easter themed, you know, lots of very soft pinks and robin's egg blues, things like that. We can also find Peace Bears. Another one that's really desirable are neons. And, you know, they are going to be really super, super vibrant. It's almost the sort of thing that you might not know what I'm talking about. And then you'll see one and you'll go, oh, that's exactly it. You know, without ever having seen one before, the neon fabric will just jump right off of the screen or right out of your hand if you're holding on to one. And then as we get into, you know, some of the more softer colors and things that we see more often, they really broke that down even further into different themes, such as seasonal. You'll hear summer, autumn, transitional, terms like that, that really stayed and stuck. And yeah, piece collectors, they went above and beyond their duty to document all those different colors and to be able to use the tush tag stamps inside to help identify exactly which color palette your Peace Bear has.
I've even heard pajama.
Pajama is another term for Peace Bear. And what that really refers to is, you know, when you look at any Beanie Baby, you can see obviously that there are sew lines where different parts of the beanie was sewed together. You know, we have the shoulder piece is a piece of fabric there. And as far as, you know, running down the back, we have this large seam. So it's different chunks of the beanie where you can see that it was actually sewn together in the factory. And pajama refers to a beanie where the entire front, at least the entire front, from underneath the neck here, running down, including the entire belly area here, and both legs on the front all the way around. If it is one solid color, encompassing this entire area here, like a pair of pajamas would be, that's known as a pajama piece. And that's, you know, regardless of whichever color, maybe some are a little more desirable than others, but all in all, any piece that is considered a pajama is really, really desirable and sought after in the collecting community. You know, you just got to imagine what these large pieces of fabric might have looked like in the factory and production phase. And to be able to get one where one whole piece of fabric was all the same color and you got it right on that piece where it was cut out for the front of the chest is really, really special. And some collectors I know really go after those. I have a nice collection of pajama pieces that I'd like to do a video on in the near future when I was building a rainbow back when.
Awesome. So many interesting things. And I mean, this is all for one character, just for Peace. And so I mean, you have some collectors I know who literally collect Peace, and they scour the internet for just these interesting different variations, whether it be where they were made or the color palette or things like that. It really is kind of almost like if you compare it to like a subreddit where the main Reddit was Beanie Babies, then the sub one was just for Peace, and then everyone was just talking about Peace. So it's kind of cool.
Absolutely. Really fascinating stuff. And it's so easy to see why people just fall in love with this bear. And the same thing for Garcia. It's kind of cool, even though, you know, on the face of the two, the only real difference is that Garcia is lacking, you know, the peace symbol embroidery on his chest. But when you kind of look at the color palettes, they're worlds apart. You can almost, you know, once you really get involved with Peace Bears and or Garcia, you can almost look at them side by side and go, oh, this is a Garcia, just based on the color palette and the fabrics they were using before switching over to Peace. I think Garcia, in my opinion, he dealt with much darker fabrics a lot of the time. You can find some really, really like forest colors, forest green, or almost like brick red. And those were things that you just didn't see a lot on Peace. He was definitely, you know, the new kid on the block where they came out and said, we're going to do something just a little more light, a little more cheery. And you can kind of feel that idea and how it came through in the fabrics.
That's so cool. It just goes to show like all of the love and personal attention that Ty put into every single product. And it's evident how much work went into it.
I agree. Well, David, we're about, I got about 25 minutes in. I'm not
Okay.
thinking that we're going to get any more guests if we want to move on over to random.org. Does that sound like a plan?
Absolutely. I know
Alrighty.
everyone's waiting here.
Okie
So
dokie.
let me pull up the screen here. And Nick, if you want to explain how it works.
Sure. So we have all 10 slots filled here in random.org. For each slot that you or whoever bought, your name would go in one time. So for this 10 slot Indo Can Peace Bear, we have 4 slots for Donna, 5 slots for Joe, and 1 slot for Melissa. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to randomize this list 5 times. And each time that we click that randomize button, it's going to, switch up the names and jumble them all up into a different order, which we'll notice. And on the 5th and final randomization, whoever's name appears at the top of the list is going to be our winner for this Indo Can Peace Bear. Remember, we're not going to charge anything for shipping. The winner has already paid their entire purchase price in the slot. So the winner will get this item shipped to them completely free of charge.
Perfect. And I did notice Joe has joined us as well. Welcome, Joe. All right, Nick, are we ready to go?
We are all set. So let's go ahead and randomize once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and 5th and final time. Good luck, everybody. And Joe, you are the winner for our Indo Can Peace Bear.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Joe.
So, and for everybody watching too, just as a little sneak preview, if you continue watching on our website, because we're always getting new items in both direct sale and raffle, a little bird told me that there is another version of Peace that is coming down the pipeline. Is that correct, Nick?
It absolutely is. So we are going to have some new items joining our direct sale inventory very soon here. We're hoping within a week or so, we'll have those live on the website. And for anyone that is, really fascinated by Peace, one of those items should definitely turn some heads. And that is going to be a Peace no emblem. And actually, if we have just a minute, David, I'd like to show that piece before we
Please
sign
do.
off here tonight.
And the other thing I will mention while Nick is bringing out that piece is that for everybody who has joined, whether you are our raffles or our direct sales, everyone is a winner because proceeds of these products do go to the Beanie Therapy Project, where we are able to share beanies with people in need all over the country, indeed all over the world. And there's been some wonderful projects with hospitals, with schools, and with other projects done kind of throughout the world. And we'll continue highlighting those.
Yeah, I've already watched them.
As we work on those. So.
All righty. We'll get this switched over real quickly here. We'll move him off the screen. And this is going to be coming up in our direct sales here. And I'm going to go ahead and pick this up.
Wow, look at that.
And here we can see he's got some really cool coloring on him. His ears, they crack me right up. He's got this one really minty green one and this one really beautiful blue one. As you can see, you would not we would not hold it against you for thinking this is a Garcia. As far as Peace goes, he is very, very darkly colored. Lots of browns, much more of an autumn sort of tone to him here. And we can see on the back, the whole back of his head is almost completely red. And he's got this whole entire blue side running down the other side. And once again, as we mentioned, the biggest difference between Peace and Garcia is that peace symbol on the chest. And that is not present on this particular Peace Bear. He is authenticated by the one and only True Blue Beans as an oddity Peace Snow emblem, and he is mint with mint tag museum quality. This is an absolutely pristine beanie. So we're hoping.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and a very new cert on him. All certs are fantastic. Any cert from True Blue Beans is really wonderful, but we really love those brand new certs. and this little guy is no exception. So he will be hitting our direct sale inventory very, very soon. We'll be sure to give you guys a heads up for that. I'm sure we'll have some nice infographics available for that. Thanks courtesy to David. And we are really looking forward to provide you guys with even more great beanies.
Thank you so much. So really appreciate everybody who participated in this raffle. Again, congratulations to Joe. Everyone, please continue participating on these. We really make this super easy, super fun. I mean, you could get in on the action starting for just a few bucks a piece. And I mean, for a few dollars, have the opportunity to possibly win a beautiful beanie like this is just incredible. No one else does this. And so thank you to everyone who participated.
Yes, absolutely. I reiterate, David worded that perfectly. Thank you guys so much. We are very, very grateful, as are all of the children and the recipients of the donations that we are able to provide with the profits from, the proceeds from these raffles and sales. It's all thanks to you guys. So thank you very much for allowing us to do that.
All right. Well, thank you again. And we'll go ahead and let Mr. Beans give us our sign off.
That's all, guys. I am Mr. Beans. And as always, I hope you had a fantastic time. Take care, guys.
Good night.
Good night.